Welcome to the Lodge. You've accessed
The Lodgecast Experience.
warning, warning, dangerous spoilers ahead. Enjoy.
It's 20 past midnight in Burbank, and it's time for the Escape Room Hot Take.
2019 hot take.
I am your Lodge Master. With me, as always, is Brother Bishki.
Yo.
And sleepy in the back, Brother Lucas.
12/19/2019.
We were just in the reclining luxury of a 10 p.m. show. That's a dangerous mix. Did you guys stay awake?
Oh, yeah.
Wide awake.
Edge of my recliner.
Glued.
So, Escape Room, guys. This is an interesting movie. I would say it's a mixture of the game, obviously. They had a little sprinkle of Panic Room, at least in the opening credits, and they mentioned Panic Room in it. And it's got a heaping helping of Final Destination with a side of Saw. Would that be accurate?
Yeah, I would say the one movie that I kept thinking of that I kind of want to revisit is a 1999 Canadian movie called Cube. Which I think is Vincenzo Natali who directed that one. But yeah, it's single location contained.
And everybody
thriller.
gets an invite through a cube.
Yeah.
A black cube
And
that
it
they
takes place in
received.
Chicago for some odd reason that's never quite specified.
Do you think they really shot there? Or did they just use those
I
drone
think they-
stock
that was-
footage?
That was stock, but like it didn't factor into the overall story or plot at all.
Somebody just had a Chicago boner.
Yeah.
It happens.
I wasn't quite clear on that.
I kept thinking of like Game Night, but like without any actors I liked or without any humor whatsoever. I mean, there was a few.
That's what I kept thinking
Classic.
too. Like, what if the cast was the Haunting of Hill House cast, like from the '90s? You know, with like
I was
Owen
recasting
Wilson.
everybody. Yeah.
I mean, for quote unquote unknowns, like I recognize a few of them from other projects, but you know, it's not like, you know, Jennifer Aniston is running for her life or whatever. I thought they were all right. Like they had their character archetypes that were easy to instantly graft onto them, so you could kind of get into it.
Punch up the casting, punch up the script, and this movie had potential.
Well, it started out a little rough. It started out a lot rough, especially
Very clunky.
because we're left to the devices of the script itself, the spoken word, the dialogue, and
Which is pretty clunky.
it's one of those movies that does feel like it's been translated a couple times.
Or
which
written
is-
by a really old person who has like no concept of reality. Like, oh my god.
Yeah, there was something off, especially with ostensibly our main heroine's science teacher. Very strange expository dialogue where he's like, I want you to take time over the break to do something that scares you, that challenges you. It's like, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of wish he like came back later and was like
Maybe he was the game master.
Yeah, like I feel like, you know, I couldn't help but think of Brother Spence, and it's like there's nothing really set up or paid off here.
Yeah.
And that's a big detriment as it goes on, especially at the end with the KFC Matrix Reloaded character that like is like, you know, all of a sudden, who is this asshole? And at first you're thinking like, oh, he's part of the game. He's just like an actor or something, like a plant. Like he's not really the mastermind.
Right.
But maybe I guess he was. Like I don't know.
Yeah, because we never get to Dr. Wu, really.
Wu-Tang.
Well,
Wu, what was it? I can't remember.
Wu Tan Yu, which is an
Wu-Tang Yu.
anagram for No Way Out. There's a lot of
Didn't really make any sense.
There's a lot of trickery and tomfoolery, but I feel like the movie really hits its stride when the game gets started,
in the early going, yeah.
and then
First half.
up until we actually find out about these people. Like,
Yeah.
we get little flashbacks. It's kind of Lost style.
You don't really need the flashbacks because there's already so much going on in the movie itself. Like the flashbacks just convolute it and confuse it, and it just takes away from the real tension.
It's kind of just pure without that. I mean, I know we would probably walk out of the movie if it didn't have all that shit. We'd be like, well, that just felt like a video game, or it just felt like we were watching people attempt to escape an escape room. But I was kind of with it. Like, I feel like escape rooms, which I've done a couple now, and they're all right, but the biggest problem with escape rooms is the annoyance of having to actually do it. So watching people do escape rooms is kind of the optimum way to enjoy escape rooms, because you can feel smart if you notice something before they do, which in this movie is impossible because it's so
doesn't
crazy.
really add up. You don't really have the satisfaction of like solving the puzzle with them in real time.
Right.
It's kind of just contrived. Like, let's move it on to the next thing.
But it's still, the fun part is just seeing how over the top the next room is going to be, you know?
Yeah.
And I feel like this movie, if it does well, like it could easily be a series, a pretty low budget series, you know? And if they just keep making the rooms crazier and crazier,
which they will, because
sky's the limit.
Cabin in the Woods 2 was another callback.
Yep.
In that sense. And I get that you need to have conflict driving the story, or like you have to have conflict in every scene, but it kind of like wears on you when like you would think after the very opening game that they passed, they would all band together and be like, okay, this shit is real. We got to stick together.
Yeah.
And up to the very end, they were like fighting each other and bickering.
Yeah.
And it was kind of just like, you know what? At that point, it's like, we got to get the fuck out of here. You're
Right.
fight or flight. It's like, you're not going to really be dicking around.
Yeah, I didn't find them too likable, the characters. I was kind of rooting for them to die a little bit. And
Confessions.
well, they were just
midnight.
Well,
your midnight
I feel they
confessions.
needed at least like one sacrificial lamb, like in the beginning. Like someone needed to get torched so you would know it was real. The fact
Right.
that they were still kind of like not sure, or at least one of them was, I was like, dude, like they should have set it up differently. And
So
like,
we should just fly through the main room. So the first one is a waiting room that turns into an oven,
which was the most
Pretty-
nerve-wracking,
which
for
was
me.
which was
Like,
really nice.
good
like,
suspense.
that got under my skin.
And then they get out of there, and then they're in a cabin in the woods with
No, I thought that was an overstep. I thought like, okay, this is too far-fetched because they have like these three.
with a digital wall, just like
I
in
felt
Cabin
they should have
in
just
the
been in like a
Woods.
meat locker, like a frozen meat locker, and the temperature just keeps going down. Like that would have been way more
Right,
viable
well-
in a building in Chicago than like, oh, there's like hundreds of gallons of water in here, and it's like,
Yeah.
I don't know about that.
They're outside a cabin, and they get cold, and they have to use their body heat to freeze down an ice cube to get to a key to get out.
Which must have taken forever. But
Which
But
yeah.
they're on thin ice, and like, yeah, one of them falls into the ice.
They're on thin ice. And then they're in an upside down bar.
Which was a
where-
cool concept, but they didn't shoot it
It
the
was
right
shot
way.
weird.
They should have shot it where it looked like they were right side up, but
I
they were
agree.
moving weird, and they should have done that the whole time.
They
but
give
it-
you little tastes of that, but it
Yeah.
must not have looked right or something. I don't know.
I don't know either.
The
yeah.
setup was better than the
payoff.
execution.
Yeah.
And then they're in a hospital ward where they all realize that they've all been lone survivors in different catastrophes. So that's kind of the lost flashback scenario part. And that's when, you learn more about them, but there's such... The whole point of the movie is the escape room bullshit. So it's like you get too much knowledge about these people and you care less. I don't know, it's weird. Because you don't really care about them.
Yeah.
It's counterintuitive for a movie. Like we're going to invite you to learn more, but then the audience cares less. I don't know. That was just my feeling anyway.
yeah, I mean, you want the wizard mastermind to be like enacting revenge upon them for some past sin or something like,
Yeah, like a game or trick or they played on someone else or
Yeah,
something.
instead of just being a psychopath who's just trying to see if luck played a factor in their survival.
Can you-
Yeah, the name of the game is to like keep it relatable on some level while like ratcheting up the stakes and the tension. And I thought like each game should have gotten like visually or like more logistically complex.
It doesn't get-
but they all kind of
yeah.
seem the same. It's like
And visually, strangely, the oven, the very first one, was the most interesting. Like, you
Yeah.
could relate to it. It
Yeah.
was like, I don't know, it was shot really well. The staging was really, really nice.
Yeah,
Yeah, this
production
movie
design
made
was
a great
pretty good.
trailer for sure. It made a great trailer, but like once you're watching it in real time, it's creaky. Like there's definitely parts where you're like, oof.
Also, you need the game master to be like Danny DeVito or something. You need to make that call,
I was expecting somebody.
or like
I was expecting the teacher, the really bad professor. I was like, how do you set up that professor and not have him come back and be
sure,
like a
but if
total
you
creep?
don't, it at least needs to be Vincent D'Onofrio from Rings.
Yeah, fork over some money.
Like somebody will. It's the equivalent of a Skyped in role. So somebody would do it.
Yeah.
You can't
They'll
just...
probably cast it for the sequel because they probably realize that now.
Yeah. Yeah.
You need a trickster. You need a Freddy Krueger. Like, you need an MC. Like, you do.
Well, there's the...
Dr. Wu-Tang Tan.
There's the game runner and then the game master, whatever. We don't see who the master is, and there's a cliffhanger at the end, which is just kind of like, it's neither here nor there. Although the teens behind us, I heard, and I quote, "That was a bomb-ass ending. I'm going to buy this movie when it comes out."
Wow.
On Blu-ray.
Man.
I don't know if they were a plant or what, trying to get the crowd to feel
Played
that.
great, Burbank 8.
But it was very clear.
Played great at the 8.
It was instant. It was instant feedback. Oh, and then the last room. I feel like it got muddled from the hospital scene onward. I just didn't really care as much, you know.
Same. I felt it completely unraveled by the end.
There's like a drug trip room, which is supposed to be fun, but it reminded me of like a low budget 90s music video, but not in a good way.
Yeah, it felt a little
if
cheap,
that's even possible for
sloppy,
me.
Yeah.
But it's like, how do you land a ship like this in the same regard? Like, the whole point, and everybody knows the whole point, is this kind of carnival ride of going through these escape rooms. Like, how do you make it important beyond just being a thrill ride? And maybe you don't have to. I don't know. I don't know what the movie is where you just allow it to fully be what it is and lean into it. They did as good a job as could be expected with this kind of thing. I wasn't mad at it.
Yeah, same. It didn't knock me out, but it didn't disappoint. Like, it was kind of middling.
Let's go to the bones. Brother Bishke, what do you got?
Yeah, I spent most of the movie trying to, or just coming up with things I was going to tell the screenwriter. Just do it now, do this. Do this.
What was your cast that you came up with? Did you have any thoughts?
The main truck driver was Galifianakis. I think like Taye Diggs.
Sure.
The main girl. I don't know. I had a lot of different ideas at different points, but
sure. And what were you going to tell the screenwriter?
There's too many things to go into tonight.
The lateness of the hour.
Given the lateness of the hour, so I'll write those down and send. No, I'll just forget about them. But
for the best.
But yeah, I mean, I didn't like the characters, but the suspense I thought built in each room pretty well until towards the end. It didn't. I'll give it a bone for some suspenseful moments and some decent production design in the escape room.
That's one bone?
Yeah.
That is harsh. Okay. All right. Brother Lucas in the back, are you going to smile brightly upon this?
I'll smile a little more warmly just because it is a good concept. You know, I don't personally like the idea of escape rooms. Like, I've done one virtual reality, like IMAX experience escape room, but I have not gone to like a real.
You gotta feel it. You gotta feel the tactile.
Yeah, I've not done one either.
Yeah, but it's just like my own worst nightmare. Like,
sure.
I would hate to be trapped with strangers trying to figure shit out. So I kind of like going on this journey, and I appreciated the fact that I don't know if she was the lead because it was kind of an ensemble, but she was, reminded me a lot of A Wrinkle in Time.
There was some wrinklage in this.
There were
definitely
some similarities, but I felt the escape room actress was much stronger. Maybe not the best, but still a little bit better than most child actors.
And it's like what she was given. It was pretty rough.
And I thought her and the other Sergeant Rack had good chemistry as friends, and they did establish a bond, and when she did die in the upside down pool room, you kind of feel it at that moment. That's like a nice little flourish, those were better moments where the screenwriters kind of nailed and stuck the landing. But a lot of the time, Bishke's right. I would have told the screenwriters, you got to establish a trickster god, okay, a cruel god, and he's got to have his motivations and his reasons, or his whatever, his picadillos, and you got to build the right mythology. Look at what Saw did for Jigsaw. You got to take that and make it more literary or intellectual or smarter or whatever it is, and then tie it all together with, you know, college students, because these people had kind of a college student vibe, but they are all from different backgrounds, and they weren't really.
You
from
would
the
say
same
make
school.
it more about the trickster god and less about the individual characters and their woe, tales of woe.
No, you can make it. I would say like make it about a bunch of students at college that like see a flyer or get like a random secret text message one night, and it's like come to this address, and then they get led into the escape room. And then it turns out their professor is the one pulling all the strings because he's like teaching them all a lesson for whatever things they'd done in the past, or I don't know.
Yeah, maybe have them have relationships ahead of time.
Yeah, like make it, because like they all kind of had that collegiate vibe if you think about it. Like, I mean, you're already going into this direction.
It's like Breakfast Club, but the library is closing in on itself.
Yeah,
Exactly.
exactly. And you flesh it out. It gives you a shorthand. It gives you these archetypes, and it allows you to kind of go deeper with the characterization without having to like establish these flashbacks and have them explain their sob stories or show the guy at work talking to his assistant.
What does that mean for the bones?
2 bones.
Two.
Bones. Yeah.
That's a 2-boner. All right. Well, I have to say, throughout most of this movie, I stepped outside of my reclined self and I looked back at myself and I'm like, that boy's entertained. That boy's entertained right now. Up until the third act, I was into it. I was feeling it. I was forgiving it, and I was really seeing the opportunity to explore bigger and badder iterations of this concept. It was surprisingly entertaining to watch random people figure out a crazy escape room, and I would like to see what would happen if, you know, David Fincher deigned to do something like this, which, you know, they were obviously inspired by him a lot, and actually brought a controlled style so that some of these set pieces did pay off in a better way. Mm-hmm. I think that would be amazing. I think there is something here. And despite all its flaws and despite the fact that, you know, it could be better in a lot of regions, I don't know, at the end of the day, I was super entertained. I gotta give it 2.5 bone.
Nice.
I'm not gonna go up to 3. I think 3 would be if they get.
3 is a solid recommendation.
I think
but...
if they get on the second go round, just take the concept and make it like Escape Room Origins or whatever they have to do. So yeah, that's Escape Room, guys.
Escaped.
I think we need to escape Burbank and enter our beds.
Let's do it.
I think that's what time it is.
Let's
so
do it.
love and light,
Love
y'all.
and light. Love and light.